Stargazer is a game about charting star clusters. Players take turns finding groups of stars and scoring points for having the most stars in their cluster. Players also add cards to the pile of cards on the table. This covers up some stars, but also expands the playing field and adds more possibilities to find valuable star clusters. Each player is given a number of cards from the 18-card deck. The number of cards a player receives is based on the number of players in the game. Of the remaining cards, 2 are placed in the center of the table. The orientation of these cards is up to the players as long as they meet these 2 requirements. The 2 cards are touching each other. None of the stars on either card are covered up by the other card. Once all players have their cards in their hand, determine the first player. The first player's turn is different from everyone else's at the beginning and end of the game. On each player's turn, they will, first, find a star cluster, and second, place a card from their hand. There are several criteria for a star cluster. A cluster is made by finding 3 stars that form a triangle. All 3 stars at the points of the triangle must be the same star type. The whole triangle must be fully on the cards, with no breaks or gaps where the table shows through. Once you have found a valid star cluster, you count how many stars are in it. All stars that are within the triangle are counted. The corner stars that make up the points of the triangle do not get counted. Stars that fall along the edge of the triangle do get counted. You must visually determine if a star falls along the edge of the triangle. Other players may argue with you, and the result is determined by a majority vote. Placing a card allows you to change the options on the table and prevent other players from scoring more points than you. There are a few rules to follow when placing a card. It must be placed partially on top of at least 2 other cards. It must not leave any holes in the pile of cards through which you can see the table beneath. It must not partially cover any stars. The first player's turn is different at the beginning and end of the game. On the first turn, the first player only does step 2, placing a card. On the very last turn, the first player only does step 1, finding a star cluster. At the end of the first player's turn, the round ends and players are ranked and receive points. The next round starts with the player to the left of the first player. Play continues clockwise. After the first player has finished their turn, the round ends, and each player gets a rank and points based on which players had the most stars in their star cluster. First place gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, and third place gets 1 point. Any players below third place score 0 points. Once the first player has taken their last turn, the final round is scored and the game ends. The players with the most points win.